I wanted to just jump on and kind of touch base on pain because I'm currently going through a kidney stone and experiencing a lot of pain, physical pain. And it's a big topic for me that brings up a lot. And so I just sort of wanted to have a discussion around pain, especially being a woman in recovery who lives with fibromyalgia and who's grieving, as a woman who's experiencing a lot of pain, both physically and emotionally because of those things. And now with this kidney stone, it's like an explosion of pain, but also a lot of thoughts and feelings around the topic. So I guess I'll just start with, the kidney stone pain. I guess it can be genetic, of my mom to thank for that. My brothers have both experienced them. I didn't until 2 years ago. I had one like 15 years ago and had to have surgery because it was so big. And then 2 years ago, February, I had pretty much like 2 months of my life consumed with kidney stones and surgeries and procedures, and really kind of been okay since. And so I wanted to touch on being a person in recovery and what that means around physical pain for me. So I got clean in November 2008. So I've got a little over 16 years clean of drugs and alcohol. I work a program of recovery. I attend meetings and do what I need to do to remain clean. And so I've been faced with time during my 16 years in recovery where I've had to take pain medication. And there's people in recovery that have all sorts of thoughts and opinions about this, and that if you're really a recovering addict, like there's no reason whatsoever you should ever have to take a narcotic pain medication. And I respect people that do that 100%. My journey with recovery, looks a little different than that. I've had 2 C-sections. I had most recently a shoulder repair surgery and a full hysterectomy. I've also had, I think, like 4 kidney surgeries at this point, kidney stone related surgeries, 2 ovarian cyst related surgeries, and all while in recovery, that I have at some point in time with those surgeries taken pain medication, and I take it really seriously and put a plan in place and believe I'm as accountable and responsible as I can be. Experiencing physical pain triggers all kinds of stuff in me, addiction-wise. Opiates were my drug of choice, so I'm like super careful and get super freaked out around them. But what I've had to wrestle with or learn to live with is that they're there for a reason. I don't have to be a martyr. I don't have to suffer. But I do have to know if it's my addiction or is it truly in my body and I'm in pain. And post surgeries, the ones I've just described, like that's my body like really in pain. And so I always have a plan in place. Obviously I always like tell my sponsor, my family knows the medication isn't secret, it's not hidden, it's usually out on a counter, and I have a sign out sheet And before I take any medication, I make myself accountable to somebody in recovery, and just try and be as accountable as I can. Talk to my higher power, like pray for relief of pain, and what have I done to help ease the pain, or what have I done to help contribute to the pain. And sometimes it can get really gray. Like my addiction wants me to be sick and to be hurting and to be jonesing for that medicine. So it can tell me, oh, this hurts. Yeah, you're in pain. You should take this. And so I really have had to learn over the last 16 plus years what is my addict brain and what is true pain. And that's been tough, it's been tough. Then being diagnosed with fibromyalgia, I think it's been 3 years now. And my experience prior to 3 years ago with fibromyalgia was, it's a bullshit disease. It's what dope seekers get. It's what crazy women have. And that was really my uneducated, uninformed judgment around it. I thought it was more of a mental disease. And so when they actually told me that I had fibromyalgia, I broke down and cried and was like, so you think I'm crazy? You think it's not real, that my pain's not real? And I remember my doctor, she was so lovely and understanding and not judgmental, and really was like comforting in that moment, and helped me begin to understand that in fact it was real, and that it is a real disease, that they don't know a whole lot about, but that she was gonna walk beside me to learn everything that I could about it and get the best treatment available, because there's not a lot out there. And so what that journey looked like was I got into a really great outpatient program through Spalding Rehabilitation Center, and it was like 11 weeks, 3 days a week, working with PT, OT, and doing cognitive behavioral therapy. And all three of them allowed me to learn how to use my body, preserve my body, and reframe and retrain how I view and think about pain. And I think being a person in recovery gave me such an advantage to this program. I've always been grateful that I'm in recovery. And this was like another example of that, because I know that people can change. I know what it's like to be a certain way, be really sick in addiction, and think that there's no way out on the other side, and find my way out on the other side and have things be bigger and better and more amazing than I ever expected. So going into this outpatient program for fibromyalgia treatment, I sort of had to take that same approach, that even though I felt like I was in this dark place, my body hurt, here I was diagnosed with this very unrecognized and, untreatable for the most part disease, and I was going to have it the rest of my life. And when I started to think about it like I do my addiction, just for today, what can I do today, a daily reprieve, that allowed me to absorb so much in this 11-week program and truly unlock parts of my brain and my body that I think I'd never tapped into before, and allowed me to rethink how I process and understand and think about pain. And it allowed me to then realize there's a lot more emotional, psychological work and pain to be done which ultimately led me to doing trauma work for 18 months. And that was like another change and unlocking and freeing experience that helped with not only my emotional and mental pain, but also my physical pain. So this is a really long roundabout way of getting to the point and getting right here to today, that like pain is a huge trigger for me. Emotional pain can cause physical pain can cause emotional pain. It's just so interconnected. And if I'm experiencing one, I can pretty much anticipate the other to start. And so here I am finding myself now with this, what I think is a kidney stone. More will be revealed after the CAT scan. But just like sitting in this pain, and how I feel now is I'm like pissed off that I'm in pain. I had just gotten to this place where I was moving my body regularly and wanting to do it, needing to do it. If I wasn't moving my body, it was hurting, if that makes sense. Like I had come to expect it and enjoy it and look forward to it each day. And now I'm, like 4 days now, I think, of like not doing anything. And it's here, obviously the physical pain and the mental stuff. And instead of sitting with it and being like, girl, you need to like heal and listen to your body and do what you need to do so you can get better, so you can get back to it, I'm like beating myself up over not being able to work out. I'm being forced. This is probably the crux of it. I'm being forced to do something that I don't want to do, and I don't like it. I'm being forced to be still. I'm being forced to be quiet. And it makes me extremely uncomfortable. Not just the physical pain uncomfortability, but just the look who has to sit with herself and her feelings and her thoughts. And it's driving me fucking crazy. And I don't like it. I'm, like almost to the year anniversary of my mom's death. And a year ago today, I was with my mom and we were in her oncologist's office for the last time. And she essentially was saying goodbye to him because they were going to put her on hospice. And she was starting her end of life care. And I remember breaking down in the office and crying because I was like, you've been with us for 11 years. And like, how do you say goodbye to her? Like I knew he wasn't going to see her again. And I know she knew she wasn't going to see him again. And she hugged him and she thanked him. And she said that she loved him because she really, really did. And we all do. He's amazing. And she was so strong. Like I think about how strong she was and how painful that must have been for her. It was painful for me as the observer in that room. And so I'm in pain physically because his stupid kidney stone. But I'm also in a lot of emotional pain because of where I am in this grieving process leading up to this 1 year anniversary of my mom passing. And I remember so clearly a year ago. And I think I was trying to keep myself really busy, physically active, and moving. And maybe this kidney stone is my body's way of saying like, no girl, you don't get to run and avoid this. You have to feel this. So I'm going to slow you down so you have to feel it. And even talking about it now, I almost can't swallow. And it's like speaking it into existence hurts. My throat hurts now talking about this. And you know how some people, when they have to, when they're feeling their feelings, get like an upset stomach or a headache, mine goes right here, and it almost is like a grip on my voice box. And makes it hard to speak. But I know that getting through my physical pain and getting through this emotional pain, I have to verbalize it and share it, or it will consume me one way or another. So I am in pain, and I don't like it. But I also have learned and have the tools to move through my pain, honor my pain and acknowledge it, and do what I need to do to get better. And having those tools today, I'm really grateful for, because Hillary, before getting clean, would be high as a kite, drunk, acting out, creating drama, doing everything and anything to avoid acknowledging my feelings and acknowledging my pain, and God forbid share it in any way, shape, or form. So there's progress. And I'm human. And I am having a very human experience right now, physically and emotionally, and maybe even spiritually. And this is how I make myself accountable, is by sharing it and putting it out there. And even though I know I'm not alone, being reminded that I'm not alone. Yeah. That's all I got about pain, at least for today.